My name's Jeff, you're watching Rolling the Score, and today we're going to learn how to play Brumble Quest. Brumble Quest is a point-driven party game for 3 to 50 players by J. Arthur Ellis and published by Plaid Games. What's interesting about this game is that it's only available currently at conventions or on the Plaid Games website during conventions. You can check their website for a live countdown of when that next convention will be in case you want to keep an eye out for it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in and talk about how to set up Brumble Quest. The first thing you'll do is hand everyone a character sheet from this pad of characters. Each character has a fun name and a fun character picture, but functionally every single one is the same. Once you have your character, you're going to want to go ahead and fold it so that you have 4 health visible and 0 gems available. That's how you're going to start the game. Next, you're going to take the 14 quest cards, shuffle them, and take the top 3 and put them face up on the table so everyone can see them. Go ahead and read them so you understand how many gems you might get if you point at it, and how you might take damage from it. We'll go into a little bit more detail on how these cards work, but after you read each of these cards, you're going to count down from 3. You're going to say 3, 2, 1, Brumble. On Brumble, everyone is going to immediately point at one of the 3 cards. After everyone points at a card, everyone will immediately take the number of gems indicated on the card that they pointed at by unfolding their character sheet to display however many they've earned. Then everyone is going to check to see if they've taken any damage. For example, if you would have pointed at the Dragon's Horde, then you would immediately take 3 gems as indicated. Then you're going to check the bottom and you're going to see that you would avoid damage if an odd number of players are pointing here. So if there's an odd number, you don't take any damage, that's great. But if there's an even number of people pointing at this card, you would take 1 damage. Play will continue like this round by round until somebody either has 24 or more gems, or somebody hits 0 health. Either or, as soon as somebody hits one of those, the game ends immediately, and the player who has at least 1 health and the most gems will win the game. In the event of a tie, the player who has the most gems and the most health wins. Now there are a few cards that I want to look at a little bit more closely during this video just so that there's no confusion when you play. The first one is the Cursed Prison. If you point at the Cursed Prison, you don't get any gems. But if you look at the bottom of the card, you'll notice you also take no damage. And the text below that says, if no player points here, all players lose 1 health. So if this card is ignored and nobody points at it, everyone is going to take 1 damage. So you may want to point at this because it's possible if this card is in play that you could lose 2 health in 1 single round. The next card that we'll look at is called the Fairy Grotto. If this card is up, you'll notice that once again, if you point at it, you don't get any gems, but you don't take any damage. In fact, you gain 1 life for pointing at it. You cannot go above your 4 max health, but if you're below that, go ahead and gain 1 health. That can be a very helpful card. And then the last card I want to look at a little bit more closely is the Lonesome Peak. Lonesome Peak is worth 4 gems, so if you point at it, go ahead and take your 4 gems. And then you'll notice that you avoid damage if the fewest players are pointing here, and it cannot include any ties. It's also worth noting that if another card has 0 players pointing at it, that would be less than the one that this card has because you're pointing at it. So this card does factor in other cards with nobody pointing at it to determine whether or not the least number of players are pointing at it. Now the last thing I want to mention for playing this game is that once the cards are revealed and everyone's deciding which one they want to point at, before the countdown begins, you are free to openly talk. However, you cannot make any binding deals. You're open to say what you want, but you could very well be openly lying. Once the countdown gets down to Brumble, just make sure that no one is hesitating to point based on what other people are doing, because that kind of ruins the game. If you are playing with people that are like that, there are other ways to mitigate it. For example, you could assign each card a 1, a 2, and a 3, and then maybe give each player a die that they can put on a 1 or 2 or 3 before you reveal simultaneously. That way no one can kind of change it at the last second. You can decide if you want to implement something like that with your group or not. Also, I'll mention that because this game goes up to 50 players technically, if you have a larger group, maybe of 8, 9, 10 people, and you want to expand the game to take place in a big room where everyone can freely walk around, you certainly could do that. You would want to just make sure you verbally explain what each card does, and then put one in each part of the room so that people can freely walk to whatever card they want to when it's time to choose one of them. You would still count down 3, 2, 1, Brumble, and then on Brumble, everyone would simply hold up 1, 2, or 3 fingers, and then they would walk to whatever card that they had decided that they were choosing. So there you have it. This is Brumble Quest, a point-driven party game from Plaid Games. Thank you for watching, and have a great time playing.